Alright, so here is November 1st, 2024 in a nutshell. Just so you know that it actually is November 1st. 1st November 2024. And on my computer here, 11/1/2024. Outside, you wouldn't think so. Right now it is 66 degrees. It is 6:31 p.m. The sun is down. And I am currently running my window fan on the highest speed because the temperatures recently have been ridiculous for this time of year. Today, November 1st, right now 66 degrees. I'm gonna zoom in here just a little bit. Red flag warning still in effect. I don't know how long it's gonna be in effect for, but that's the kind of weather we've been dealing with. It has been dry and warm. Relative humidity is low as 44%. That wasn't really true. If I go to the humidity graph right now, it has been at least 55% all day. Not only that, but if you look carefully, right now the dew point is starting to go down a little bit, but if you look here carefully, dew point has been near 60 all day. So in effect, it's kind of like summer weather. It was 75 degrees today, this afternoon. A decent amount of sun. It started out pretty cloudy, but the sun came out later on. Bit of a cool down incoming. And then later in the month, just a few days down the road, we get back into this warm pattern. Tuesday the 5th, 69 degrees. Wednesday the 6th, 71 degrees. And 60 overnight. Thursday the 7th, 68 degrees. And it just... I don't think I've ever seen this happen before. Yes, there may be the occasional one-off where there's like a warm day or two this late in the year, but this has been happening so consistently this fall. I mean, 75 on the 1st of November is kinda ridiculous. We're supposed to be like in the 50s during the day by now, and this is what we're seeing? This is a new type of heat wave. I have never seen this before. On top of that, with relatively humid conditions as well throughout the day today, and yesterday, and the day before yesterday. In fact, I have some screenshots. This is just one I took earlier today when I saw what was expected for like the first to second week of November. And this was a screenshot of the humidity graph that I took around like 2 or 3 a.m. last night. That's my ACR results for the Halloween tour. Don't need to mind that. This is a screenshot of a comparison between New England and Los Angeles. And I kid you not, it was warmer than it was in LA on Wednesday. Which was 2 days ago. And of course, we cannot forget the most honorable mention here. That's November 6th. Halloween, yesterday. It was 74. I think it may have even been 75 because I took this back on Tuesday. Yeah, back on Tuesday. And this is the kind of weather that we have been dealing with throughout the fall. Occasionally, it would get to near normal conditions or slightly below average, but there have been frequent periods of above average conditions for 2 to 3 days at a time. I took this also on Tuesday, which shows that Wednesday through today, 70s. Wednesday was barely short of that, 69, but yeah, I think you see what's going on here. And of course, this is a very unusual event. And yeah, I took screenshots well in advance too when this was being forecasted, and it turned out that it had actually happened. And this isn't anything new either. This didn't just start happening. Here is what I've got. This one's better actually. From back on the 21st of October. And there's Wednesday. You can see the Halloween wave of warm weather starting out there. But let's look back at the period of October 21st. Hold on. Yeah, October 21st. That's a different spot. Hold on. There we go, that's here. 79 degrees on October 21st. It actually reached 80 in some spots in New England. And then very close to that mark again on the following day, Tuesday the 22nd, 75. And still in the 70s on Wednesday. And this has been recurring throughout the month of October, as you can see here. That's from the 21st through the 23rd, of course, including the other 2 days. And then it happened again from the 30th of October through today, and it's expected to happen again from November 5th to November 7th. We keep getting these warm waves throughout the fall of 2024, and it is not very common to see that happening here in New England. It's supposed to get cold by the time fall is here, and it's supposed to stay cold from this point forwards, and that just isn't happening. The heat just keeps returning. Summer does not want to go away, and I don't understand why. And I can assure you there have been, yep, well, this is all the way back from September 9th, where it actually got unusually cold for the time. But ever since then, it's been, like, stable at conditions that is not here. It's also not here. Yeah, I don't know if I have any other screenshots, but it has been historically warm here for the past month. And it looks like this pattern is expected to continue. So, yeah. Also, this building is now in heating mode rather than cooling mode. So that does not turn on when I have the thermostat set low, but if I turn it up, it turns on. And that, of course, is also an issue when it comes to these recurring periods of heat. So I have to use my own means of cooling now. Alright, if you come out here, these means of cooling are not exclusive to my bedroom. I've opened these windows here and put a fan in one of them, hoping that this helps to cool down the living room. This is something I did back in the June heat wave, putting this fan in the living room window. And I learned that this actually worked pretty well, so I'm thinking doing it again will do me a great service. And, well, it hasn't been working too well, although I still think it has had an effect and hasn't been completely useless. And as of right now, standing in front of the airflow of the fan, it actually does feel a little cooler. And that's because it's starting to cool down outside, although it's still pretty warm. It is currently 75 degrees in here. It's 73 in my bedroom. And all of this is attributed to the fact that it just keeps getting warm throughout the fall. And we no longer have our AC turned on. It has been disabled for the winter. And because we have these stupid fan coils, the things inside the coils, you know, the elements or whatever, they stay cold or they stay warm. They aren't going to turn off ever. These thermostats only control the fan. So that means we get passive heating even when we don't want it. And especially being on the 5th floor, that is a bad thing. Because that results in this happening. Especially when it gets warm outside. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. It has been ridiculously warm for this time of the year. And that trend does not appear to be changing anytime soon. So of course, to deal with all of the unusual warmth that we've been having throughout the fall, I got my window fan. I brought this here because I knew something like this was going to happen. Not to say that I'm a psychic or whatever, that I knew this exact scenario would pan out, but what I did know is that these things would be stupid and cause passive heating that is generally unwanted, especially being up on the 5th floor where heat from the lower floors is going to naturally rise up here. And I knew that we would get some, not this many, but some warm days throughout the fall where I would need to use some other form of cooling because the AC would have been turned off. That is what happened last year, and it happened again this year. And this time I was ready, brought window fan, and of course I have my other fan that I decided to put in the living room window, and they both have helped. This has helped a lot, and that one has helped a little. As you can see, thanks to the window fan. Not quite as warm in here as it would be without it. It would probably be like almost 80 degrees in here if I had never opened the window and put the window fan in. But I did decide to put the window fan in, and it has cooled this room down quite well. Right now I am running it on the highest fan speed, and I have it on circulate mode because this is a single window room. So if I were to run it on either of the other modes, it wouldn't really work too well because the air wouldn't easily replenish, or it would, you know, be too much. So the fan would be, you know, fighting against an imbalanced air pressure. So that's why I have it on circulate. That way it can exchange the air in this room for outdoor air and not cause a pressure imbalance. And the thermostat setting, let me go ahead and show you what we're working with on that. So right now it says it's 75, that's what the reading currently says. If I hit temp down, I have it set to 69, which usually I wouldn't have it set into the 60s for cooling, but it works that way, and it brings my room down to a more comfortable temperature if I leave it set to 69. Especially once it starts cooling down outside, it's going to start registering the outdoor temperature a bit more. So that's why I have it at a lower setting. And it does great once it cools down outside. During the day though, not much I can do, especially if it gets crazy warm out. And I gotta go ahead and get the graphs up here. Let's start with the graph for this room. Alright, so Give it a second to load. Alright, it looks like it's loading. There we go. Data refreshed. Throughout the day, while I was sleeping, the temperature was going up because I had the fan off so I could sleep. And topped out close to 74 degrees. Then I turned the fan on, cools down a little bit pre 1 p.m. and I never turned it off since. And the temperature just went up throughout the day, so it got warmer in here because of the outdoor temperature increase, and now it's starting to go back down a little bit because it's cooling down outside. And last night got it down to 69.4 in here by running the window fan continuously throughout the day yesterday as well. Speaking of that, here is yesterday until this exact time 24 hours ago. You can see, same thing the day before. I ran it until it got down to 69 degrees, and then that's when the thermostat cutoff was reached and the fan started cycling on and off, and it actually managed to hold my room at 69.6/69.8 degrees, which is actually better temperature control than I could have possibly asked for with this thing. Or this thing, especially. Because once it, I mean, it's kind of a quirk of being on the top floor of the building, because the warm air mass is going to try and go out instead of coming in the windows, so that means whenever the window fan turns off, it's going to register the indoor temperature rather than the outdoor temperature, which it's how it should be with these thermometer designs, but you know how I feel about internal sensors and how they can be inaccurate because of reasons like this, you know, the outdoor temperature or the device output causing a false reading. This one can get a relatively accurate reading if the temperatures are roughly the same, both outside and inside, or in this type of scenario where you're on the top floor and the air is going to be trying to go outside. So yeah, that's helped this thing to work really well to maintain the temperature pretty much exactly where I want it to be. And once it starts cycling on and off after reaching the set point, the temperature does not change, which is good. And that's exactly what's happening here. Once we get to the point where I turn it off, though, notice the temperature just skyrockets, reaching 74 again. I turn the fan on, goes back down. Turn it off again. Well, I didn't actually turn it off because some electrician was in the building yesterday and he actually started flipping breakers to fix the hallway receptacle, and he flipped the breaker for the whole apartment, so pretty much everything in here reset, including the window fan, so it just shut off without me doing anything. And that was apartment-wide too, so that means the fan out in the living room I also had to power back up manually. And that is why a UPS is a good investment. Totally unrelated note, but had I not had my UPS, it would have also done a reset on my humidifier and my lamp, and this thing would have turned on because the smart bulb, which is by Govee, does not have a power save state. It just has a save state for the settings that it last had before being turned off. So that would have turned on had I not been using a UPS to power it. But that is a completely unrelated thing. It's just to explain why the fan was turned off at this time. And then you can see the temperature going back up. I turn the fan back on again and it starts to go back down. Now let's look at Wednesday. And you can see pretty much the same thing. Although the fan was off for longer, it appears. Had it off here. Temperature rise to 75 degrees overnight. And then I turn the fan on when I get up. Drops temperature significantly. I turn it off. It rises again. And yeah, that's kind of just what's been going on. Every time I turn this window fan off, the temperature just goes back up. It doesn't matter if it's colder outside than inside. It's just the thing to do with these stupid fan coil units. And of course, the unusually warm weather is a contributing factor, especially during the day, but, you know, this is kind of the best solution that we have now that the AC is off. So, yeah. I'm gonna continue to leave this thing in the window for I don't know how long at this point, because, well, I actually put it in at like the beginning of this week, knowing that, you know, this type of weather was on its way, and every, you know, day since the heat has been turned on in this building, it's actually been getting uncomfortably warm up here, so I felt that doing this was necessary. Battery icons flashing, give me 1 second. Okay, I'm back. Swapped out the battery in the camera, and yeah. Back out here to check on this fan again. This is November 1st, ladies and gentlemen, of 2024. Very much not fall-like weather. Very warm outside. Humidity also followed suit for the past few days. Dew points being right around 60 degrees. And it doesn't appear that this pattern is going to change anytime soon. We keep going back and forth between seasonal patterns and unseasonably warm patterns. So, basically, you know, a few days of fall-like cold, you know, 50s during the day and near freezing at night. Maybe even a little bit below average at points. And then we get a few days worth of this type of weather, where it gets well into the 70s during the day, and sometimes can stay in the 60s overnight, but usually might get down into the 50s by a little bit. And yeah, most people definitely would have, you know, their heating systems started up by now. Like, I know that Jordan Yu started up his pellet stove like a month ago at this point, and there's like no need for heating right now. It's crazy to think about it, but summer just doesn't want to stop. It won't let up. It's like the never-ending summer. Even though we get these brief cold periods in between, we get right back to this warm weather. And the fact that it's happening this late into the year as well is astonishing. At this point, you would expect 70 degrees to not happen until like next May or something, or maybe April, if it starts to get unseasonably warm a little early. But having this kind of weather lasting all the way into November, I cannot believe this is happening. This is just something else. And yeah, windows wide open. It is still 75 in here. Fans going, you know. And this thermostat here is turned all the way down. Fan is shut off, so, you know, the heating doesn't kick on. And this is still what we're dealing with. Most people at this point have their air conditioning put away or turned off, including this building and the other buildings like this one, because there are two buildings that twin this one. One of those buildings is right across the way out there. That is Garrity. And then there's another one that's back along that way, but it's like a lot further out. It's by the other end of campus. And these buildings are in heating mode for the winter, which honestly, I don't even know if we're going to need it this time around, especially if this pattern continues. I would be at a loss for words if this goes all the way through December, because this is very unusual. And this unusually warm pattern is bringing me great concerns for what the winter storm season could shape up to be like, because last time this kind of extended summer weather happened, winter storm season was not so friendly, to say the least. And the most recent example I could think of is Hurricane Sandy, you know, when it was still pretty warm at this time of the year, mainly because of Sandy moving into the region, bringing that tropical air up. But no tropical activity up here whatsoever right now. And there hasn't been, I think, for the entire season this time. I don't know if there are any systems that drifted close, but it has actually been quite dry in terms of precipitation here for the last few weeks. Like, it barely rains. It barely rained, which is also very unusual for this region of the US. Because usually we get a good amount of rain here, at least once a week. And there just has been an almost complete lack of rain for the last few weeks, almost the entirety of October. And I'm getting growing concerns from this pattern that, you know, winter storm season is going to be a monster. Like, it could shape up to be really cold once all of this is done. And there could also be a ton of monstrous storms to make up for what is happening right now, where there's just way too much calm in the atmosphere, and it's so warm. It is ridiculous. I genuinely just... I would have no words if this continues all the way through December. There's no way this is going to last that much longer. Like, I know there is going to be another period of warm days later, like 5 days from now or something. 5th, 6th, 7th of November. But if it continues on after that, I don't know what to say. So, yeah. That's what I've got. Unseasonably warm fall. It has been recurring like this throughout the month of October, and now it's going to continue into November. And I'm at a loss for words on why this could possibly be happening. It's not just slightly above average where we're edging into the 60s, we're in the 70s. We're like well in the 70s. So, yeah, I'm glad that this isn't happening during the peak of summer, because if this was, since it's at least 20 degrees above average, then we would be well in the triple digits if this were happening during the summer. So, thank goodness this is not during the height of summer, but, you know, still, seeing this during the fall, especially continuing on for this long, is very unusual. And as I mentioned, you know, people have put their window ACs away for the winter because they expect it to be cold by now, which it isn't. And a lot of central systems are in heating mode now, like this one, for example. And it's almost like summer just doesn't want to die. And, well, if it doesn't soon, then I don't even know what to say. Yeah, this is crazy. It's crazy how long these conditions are lasting for. The recurring periods of warmth going this late into the year. It's November 1st, and it still feels like it's late August / early September. So, that's all I've got for this one. And, yeah. Another video will be coming soon, I guess. I might be doing, some more winter storm season animations, because I kind of haven't been doing those for a while. And, especially with, the crazy winter storm season that we might be having. I might be doing a hypo for that one, and, then we'll see how it pans out, and, I'll probably also do animations of some other historic seasons, just to let you know. So yeah, that's all I got for this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.